Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live, game dev creating 890 art assets, or artwork, if I remember correctly. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and as Paseo in the Twitch chat says, hooray, another Star Citizen Live about creating art assets. I'm excited too. Joining us on the show this week are two members of our props team from the UK office. We got Cory Bamford and John Carney. Cory, John, how you doing today?
Great, thank you.
Good.
Okay. Now, Cory, we talked about this a little before we went live. We think this is your fourth time on Star Citizen Live. You're becoming a Star Citizen Live veteran at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw a picture of me from the first one, and I look about 10 years younger, and it was like a year ago. It's quite funny.
We all look about 10 years younger about a year ago.
Yeah.
What keeps you coming back, Cory?
I enjoy interacting with our lovely fans, and I also like showing artwork and giving the props team a bit of representation, you know?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Flying the flag.
On his first Star Citizen Live, we got John. John, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm with Cory on his fourth time, so I feel like I'm in safe hands. Yeah. So hopefully it goes well.
Okay, I thought you were with Cory on his fourth time. This isn't your fourth time. This is your first time you've done anything for us.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
No, I've seen you've done some work.
I did do some work around it. But yeah, first live stream.
How long have you been at the company now?
Just short of 4 months, I think.
Just short of 4 months? And what have you worked on in those 4 months?
Oh, some of the art assets for the 890, fortunately.
Really? You joined up and they threw you right into the 890 jump?
Oh, well, they saw what I had to offer and just thought, we need this guy on the 890. We need him churning out props.
Yeah, for those of you who watched ISC yesterday, Joel took us through a brief tour of some of the props that were being developed for the 890. The 890, at last count, has 68 rooms inside. It's a big ship, and following a lot of the feedback from the 600i when it went out, we took it upon ourselves as a team to go forward and spend a little extra time, a little extra effort to bring a little more personality and life to the interior of the 890 jump. And so several members of the props team have been on assignment with the ship team. Would that be a good way to put it?
Yeah.
It's working in close collaboration, sort of a mini strike team of sorts, making sure it all gets done.
Gotcha. Now, in yesterday's show, we saw some sculptures and other, I think somebody saw a pair of slippers sitting on the ground. Towards the end, we saw paintings, and that's actually going to be the subject of today's show. Let's go take a look at some of the paintings that are already created for the 890 jump, and then after we catch up with some of the stuff that's already been done, we're going to take this episode to go through the process of creating paintings and even potentially create one that will be included in the 890 jump live here with your guys' input. So let's start with our art review. Let's see what we already got going.
So we kind of wanted a general mishmash of your kind of, I don't want to call it bog standard art, but the sort of the more iconic style. So like I wanted like a nice oil painting, a nice kind of geometric painting, like watercolor kind of stuff, like a general mishmash. So I'll just take you through these guys here. Again, it's with the art for the 890. It was more thinking about the kind of art that the ultra wealthy would want, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like a great Gatsby mansion-esque ship. So when we're creating these art assets, we're envisioning what would the ultra rich have inside their party ship.
Yeah,
and, this is what we came up with.
Yeah. So like a lot of it, you can tell it kind of it's fairly derivative of a lot of kind of iconic paintings, especially this guy, and we just kind of wanted to give it that sort of feel of like high art, I guess. Like someone could sit in front of this and try and figure out the meaning. I do promise you there is definitely some meaning behind them.
Okay.
It's just for you to figure that out.
I'm going to go ahead and encourage the Twitch chat watching right now. Go ahead and leave us your thoughts in the chat. Let's play Star Citizen art critic here. Let it go. Don't have to be restrained. You let Cory really know what you think about his art here.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to pass it along.
You have to keep in mind that not all art is high quality. So I've been trying to kind of ape that. I don't want to say low effort, but you know how you get like some modern art and it's just a bit like
low effort.
Yeah. So I mean I kind of like this guy, for instance, at the end. it's your kind of fairly
What's
fairly
going on
safe.
here?
It's kind of it's sort of a it's kind of a
What's the meaning, Cory?
yeah. So we're kind of looking at two different bodies, of maybe of people, and there's an intersection between them, and the shade of green. It maybe it's envy. Maybe one of them envies the other.
See, when I see this, I see me and you. I see me on the left and you on the right.
Dakusha in the chat says second from the right is amazing.
This guy here.
The second from the right. Yeah, we'll do that
okay,
one.
so actually, this is quite an interesting one because I took a shot of Magda from the game to make this. In fact, should we go through him a bit more and then we'll dig into the guts of it? But so this guy here is kind of, we're taking assets. I find it quite fun because what we're kind of doing with some of these, what we can do with these paintings is we can take assets from the game that were once concept art. We can take the 3D models that have been labored over to get in the game, and then we can turn them back into concept art.
So you're reversing the whole process.
Exactly.
It's reverse concept art.
Exactly. This is like kind of taking art from concept to 3D and then back to a painting, which I think is kind of fun.
Does this one have a name?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't actually really named these. I kind of wanted to get some feedback from the writers. Maybe they can flesh out the lore behind the artists.
Okay.
For now, it's Untitled Portrait of Magda.
All right.
Or something like that.
Let's take a look at the one immediately to the left there. I think this one's my favorite. This one is my
This
favorite.
guy, yeah.
This one is my favorite.
Yeah, you can kind of see there's a bit of a hexagonal theme. That was slightly incidental, but once I kind of was aware I was doing it, I kind of went with it. This is kind of like a Giant's Causeway sort of inspired piece, with all the strange geometric rock formations.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of depth to this as well, which is quite cool.
If you get in there, you can see I've actually used our parallax occlusion tech to give it some nice depth. I kind of wanted something that wasn't just contemporary kind of, modern, sort of just like on a canvas paint. I wanted something a little bit more tactile, and that's something that we've been, that was given to us by the art directors as well. They wanted something a bit more kind of, like tactile and I guess more high art, And then I put some gold on it because before it was looking a bit kind of primitive,
Right.
And I wanted to give it that sort of luxurious flair to it. So I threw this strip of gold down the middle.
Give it the 890 treatment,
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to the one to the left.
This
one is Tomato in the Sky.
Yeah, Tomato in the Sky. That's a good name for it. It's actually, if you look at the shape, it's actually like a bolt. So I don't know if it's some message on, technology.
It's a donut in the sky.
Or a donut, a donut in the sky too.
And all of these are signed as well.
Yeah, they've all got signatures. These signatures are actually borrowed from members of our team. Does this one have? Oh, there's a little signature there. Yeah, so they've all got little signatures on them.
Well, hold on, don't skip the other one. What's this one is? Let's look at this one. This one is My Parents Fighting.
Oh wow! See, for me, it either looks like a dude's head in like a spacesuit, like one of those kind of clear top dome helmets, or it's kind of like an egg or something, rising out of whatever this is down here. It's, this is probably, I think, the most kind of meaningful.
Yeah, for me again, and I see a theme here. Again, I see me and you in this game. I don't know what it is.
All right.
So
yes.
A lot of these are pretty abstract or impressionist and whatnot, and we've noticed in the chat a number of folks, abstract and impressionist stuff doesn't necessarily play to everybody's interests. So we thought for the show today that we would create something a bit more literal, a bit more. I'm not an art critic. A life drawing, if it were. So let's go ahead and start that process. Let's get into that. What are we going to make today, Cory?
So I was thinking today we could make a nice kind of spacescape, maybe chuck in a meta reference to a certain spaceship, kind of just like a fairly epic space painting. So we can. Okay. Should we just get right into that? Do you want me to go into a bit of substance design stuff first, or should we start mocking this up?
Well, just take us through the process. Where would you start? Would you start with the capture first?
Yeah, you know what? I think it does make sense. So just to give you a bit of context for this, what I'm going to do is we're going to create
A scene, really.
Yeah, like a scene in the game, and then we're going to take that scene and we're going to kind of turn that into a painting.
Okay.
So I'm just going to get rid of our little. I'm just going to get rid of our little room here. So we have over here.
Here's one we made earlier.
Here's one we made earlier. The A90. Oh wow, it's glowing. That's interesting. Oh boy. I don't know why that's happened there. Just give me a sec.
It's all part of the art process.
It's all part of the art process. That's right, exactly. I think I might have a certain layer. 1 second. A classic. So I'm just going to import a skybox real quick, and hopefully that will remedy.
So while he's doing that, John, what are some of the props that you've actually created for the 890 jump so far?
So you mentioned earlier with Joel's video some of the sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to work on some of the sculptures, and some more sort of like bespoke, fancy props that you'd imagine that you'd stumble upon if you were, hanging around with the ultra rich. So there's sort of cigar humidors and fancy chess sets and these sort of things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you created cigars?
The cigars I didn't get to, but the cigar humidor and the cigar holders and all the cigar accessories. I'm now actually somewhat of an expert about cigars just from researching the props.
Let's put that on there. Sorry, just a sec. Technical difficulties. Right. Please bear with me.
So
this is actually all part of the real art process. This happens all the time.
We tested this for an hour before we went live, and it was all perfect and functioning. So naturally, when we go live, this is what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to reopen the scene, and it should behave.
Yeah, we're going to channel this frustration into the painting, and you should hopefully be able to see it.
Yeah, very angry painting. So why don't we? This is a good time to open it up to some questions from the chat. If you have any questions for the props team, either Cory or John, about props in general, you can submit your question with the word "question" in capital letters surrounded by brackets into either the Twitch or the Spectrum chat. That'll help us to pick them out from all the other conversation. And Amanda Eng, that's not a helpful question. It's an interesting question, but so there's a question about Keanu Reeves.
Nice. Right. I mean, I would personally love a portrait of Keanu Reeves, but unfortunately, that would be a bit of a uphill. You have to call him, and a bit of a nightmare. Okay, so I think I've recovered things here.
All right.
890.
There we go.
Nice exterior shot of the 890. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, and together we're going to build this into like an epic spacescape. So for me, I think the most important thing to start with is the appropriate scenery. So what I'm going to do real quick is just import, and hopefully it doesn't explode this time. There you go. This is basically like the skybox from Stanton. So you can see if I pan around the viewport, I've got some stars, I've got some spacescapey things. And I've also got the star itself. So I think the first thing we need to do really is take the 890 and get some nice lighting on it. Maybe figure out a kind of relative to the sun where we want it to be. So I kind of personally, I think the most striking part of it is there's these forms at the front. I think they're great. So why don't we think about the composition?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I like this composition. First, that is a pet peeve of mine. I like a really, tight FOV, good looking cinematic.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Nice. So, I reckon maybe...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Make it look a bit dynamic, like it's moving.
Yeah, exactly. And we can actually free up the camera as well. So if I free the camera movement, now I can rotate the camera. So, we can really think about...
Yeah, now it looks like it's moving.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe something, kind of want to get that flat surface at the top. Maybe something like this.
Yeah.
That's kind of like our main, pose, I guess you could call it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to freeze the camera real quick. So we'll create a new camera. If I can remember, there you go. Create camera from current view. So now we are locked into this camera. We'll just change that field of view back to 40. What we can do now as well is we can bring in some objects. So does anyone have a favorite moon, for instance? Or planet? We might be able to get that in.
Yula.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can find that object container for you.
Or Daymar.
Let's have a look. Oh, hello.
I feel like we need some color contrast, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Daymar would be better.
Oh.
for the color contrast. But I mean, that's pretty good right there. Would you?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I was actually playing around before we got here. I was playing around with gas clouds as well, because I know we've got quite a lot of those in game. This is actually just a nice volumetric cloud. I kind of like it because it's got that kind of directionality.
That makes it look like it's moving.
Yeah, it's really, really dynamic there. You know, I might actually just move this.
Luana's suggesting that you lower your FOV even farther beyond 40.
Even further.
Really? You reckon like 20? Oh, that's just. How do I unlock the camera? There you go.
I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, we might try this out. Let's go back to default camera. Let's pull that FOV in 20. Oh, mama. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm just gonna freeze that again. We'll create a new camera from this show.
Thanks, Luan.
That was a great suggestion. He's one of our environmentalists, for anyone who doesn't know. Okay, cool. So we got that camera set up. I reckon we need some sort of planets in the background. So I'm just going to bring in a new object container. And we'll just see if we can find that planet. So I'm just a sec, I'll just set that up for you. Oh boy, we're bringing a planet in. All right. It's kind of inside the scene.
Inside the planet.
Because it brought it in at 0, right? So
yeah, I have, yeah. So let's just push that out. Is it going to behave? Let's just put some transforms on that. Oh boy, it's not. I'm going to delete that. Oh dear. Okay, let's go back in here. All right. Plan didn't really work. Let's get back to where we were.
You're getting an insight into the genuine art process.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we deal with.
Yeah, we deal with stuff, sometimes misbehaving. I'm just trying to grab this gas cloud real quick. Okay. Yeah, this is one of those classic. I'm just going to change the field of view whilst I work, because it's a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to select stuff. That's not a desk. Oh, there you go. Okay, that's better. That's behaving itself now. Yeah, so I'm kind of liking this whole traveling through gas cloud thing. I don't really like the color of it either, so I think I might just push it back. Bring it in a bit. Maybe just change that color. So we actually have some settings. I'm just going to bring those over here for you so you can see. I'm just going to pop that there actually. So, I was thinking we could change the color. Do you guys have any suggestions for colors?
I like blue.
You reckon blue is cool?
Yeah.
Maybe we could go for like a nice... Yeah, it kind of fits in with the whole
I
deep
see
space
2 purples right off the bat.
2 purples? Oh, that's a good shout. Let's just get that nice. But I reckon like a fairly. You're thinking like a kind of pinky purple or like a nice deep purple?
I'm seeing a lot of purple now.
Yeah, that's a good shout. What do you guys reckon of that shade? Is that what you have in mind?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So with this like whole workflow, I think it's fair to say it's pretty like non-destructive. Like we could probably go all the way to the end in substance, and then decide that we might want to change some of the colors we're looking at now, and just re-kick out a screenshot, and hopefully when it goes to our substance pipeline, it'll non-destructive. It'll change our end result, so we can make tons of iterations and go through tons of reviews and potentially have like an infinite amount of paintings from this.
We can keep iterating on that. My scene's gone a bit balmy. I think it's the planet I brought in. Let's just bring that back. That's looking pretty cool there, actually. Pull that FOV back in. I mean, I'll tell you what, why don't we just grab what we have now? I'm actually just going to pull those clouds back a bit again. Tell you what we have now. And...
yeah, we don't want to crowd the painting anyway. Keep it nice and simple.
Exactly.
The 890 has our focal point.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Let's try these cameras, shall we? Oh, great. Yeah, my camera's died. I reckon something like that, nice and pulled out.
Yeah.
We'll get it in there anyway. So, I'm just going to actually capture this as a... oh, there you go. Just got to change my ratio real quick. So, let's just fix that. Sorry, this is the tedious part, I promise, once we got it all
I think we're going to call this painting Frustrated. I think Cory's going to sign it as well.
I think I might sign it, yeah. So let me just take this screenshot real quick. I'm actually going to throw this into Substance Designer. So for those of you who are uninitiated, Substance Designer is kind of a procedural texturing tool that has a bunch of procedurally generated textures, patterns, and so on, and it allows you to kind of manipulate and transform those to create your actual paintings.
And we use this all over the game, right? As well as for making things like paintings, things like trim sheets and decals, and
yeah, we use it for terrain, for organic objects.
So very versatile.
So, I mean, take this painting, for instance, that we showed you earlier. That all started out just as the simple tile generator. And I took these tiles, added in a little pink guy, transformed them a bit, moved them around, pushed them in. Generally kind of just played around. I mean, all these nodes, like you can go into them and you can view them, like transform, just allows you to rotate. Trapezoid is kind of like pinching it. And the nice thing about this is you can go back to the end result anytime you want, and you can preview what these changes are doing.
Yeah.
So I can come back to the end of my painting here, and I could say go into the trapezoid, and I could pull that out, and it'll update that in real time. So if I really push that in, you'll see it gives you that perspective.
So if we were, doing art reviews, we could do really rapid, quick iterations of this thing.
Yeah. There's also things like symmetry, where you can pick a different symmetry version, and you can see how you can very quickly create this kind of abstract art. It kind of lends itself very well, this pipeline.
Yeah, and an infinite amount of variations of the art that you do create as well.
Yep, exactly.
So we could do a whole series of these paintings.
Yeah, okay.
All in a similar style.
Why don't we get to where we were? So I'm just going to delete my little question marks here. Let's bring in the 890, shall we? See what we get. So we got our little image. We'll just fix the size of it for you. Oh, other way. Oh, a bit too much. There you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to try and turn it into a painting. We might make some changes to the actual scene itself. We'll go back to the editor and take a look.
But we could just bring in a fresh screenshot, right? And it'll still save all our changes with the nodes.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm thinking one of the things I like to do first is just really push the pixels about, try and give it that painted look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a multi-directional warp, which basically allows you to take an image and push it around. So if I take, for instance, one of these nice grunges here, let's take this guy, for instance. Kind of like a cool grunge. I can randomize it each time. You can make stuff like this all from scratch. I just find as a jumping off point, the preset ones are pretty nice.
Right.
So I'm just going to throw that in there. And you'll see already what it's done is it's just pushing it around based on this input. So if I ramp up that intensity, you can see you can really kind of start squishing stuff. Obviously, we don't really want that for the foreground, but I think for the background, it kind of gives you this appearance of strokes and splatter, and I think it really helps just push things in the direction of a painting.
Yeah.
So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back to the engine, and I'm just going to very quickly pop open a new toolbar. I'm just going to take a capture of the normals, and I'm going to take this background, and actually let me just find a better view. Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to take this background, I'm going to mask out the ship using that background. So let me just fix my field of view again.
I'm going to assume in
a screenshot.
What you're trying to do is affect just the background of the image.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if I bring in this normal map that we just grabbed, let me just drag him in for you. We can actually fix the aspect ratio again. We can actually take a color from this. So if I go color to mask, and I can input. So each node will have an input and an output, basically.
Right.
It's the easiest way of doing it. So say, for instance, I grab this flat normal value here. You'll see that generates a mask out of that value. It's got some text in the corner that we'll fix up later. But for all intents and purposes, it kind of is just a very quick way of masking out that background. So I think something like that will do. So now we actually have a mask. We can blend between this version of the 890 where it's all mushed around, and like a clean version. So if I go blend, this will create a blend node, and from that I can set a foreground. So say for the foreground we choose the clean version, and for the background we choose the warped version. And I can actually use this mask we created just to blend the two together. So you'll see now we have a version in the foreground of the 890, and we have a version in the background. And the nice thing as well is if we change these screenshots, it should all update automatically, which is great.
Right.
So what I think I might do is push the 890, just kind of squish it around a little bit, but maybe not to quite the same amount. So I'm going to use another multi-directional warp. And if you have any suggestions, John.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm learning as I'm watching this.
You and me both, John.
Yeah. I mean, being new here, Cory's quite often sat at my desk, sort of showing me these things, and I sort of just slipped into just watching Cory do my work for me mode, which what I'm more used to.
Yeah. So let's have a look at this here. So we're kind of pushing it with some cells They're a bit blocky at the moment. We can kind of fix that. I might push them in a bit. I'm kind of going for like finer brush strokes on the ship because you want it to almost feel like it's, you know, they've spent a lot of time painting in the ship, but not so much the background. It looks kind of gross at the moment, I know, but we're just going to kind of nudge it down. Again, we can kind of soften things up. You can see it's really hard at the moment, and that's because the source we're taking from is really crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend these cells. Maybe just blend them with themselves, but inverted. So we have a regular version and an inverted version. I'm just going to chuck a grunge in. I mean, these grunges are great to get you started. Sometimes you can't go in and fine tweak them. And now we have a sort of rougher, kind of more random version of that, and that should kind of just help with the look.
So I suppose what you're trying to mimic here is the sort of like natural imperfections of, you know, painting something realistic. There's going to be brush strokes and slightly softer edges. And
and we can use these same warps that we're using on the painting on the things we're warping the painting with.
Right.
So you can get pretty in depth with it. So if we, I'm just going to use another multi-directional warp because I really like these. I'm just going to throw in, say, I don't know, dirt or something. You have all these presets that you can work with, and I find it very fun just to kind of pick through them. Yeah. So I don't know, we'll throw some dirt in and see what it looks like. A lot of this is experimentation, and you kind of find things in the program that you personally quite like, and you find yourself using a lot of the same stuff. So I think something like this kind of looks cool. It's got a bit of directionality to it, which kind of I think helps the style.
Are these your sort of like go-to nodes when you open up the software then?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like I see these things, and I've used them before, and I know I like them. So you can see this warp is getting a little bit gentler. Maybe it's a little bit too gentle now, though. So we could always bump that up a bit. Maybe not quite so much. Something like that. I might actually just soften this, so I can actually blur. If I get a blur, that will actually just make it a lot softer. So you see how that's taking all the sharper details out?
Yeah.
And that'll probably just help kind of just stop it roughening up a bit.
Yeah, you're literally using technology to mimic, like, you know, the production of actual art with, you know, oil and canvas and...
Yeah. I'm not too happy with the lighting at the moment of the ship. I think something funny has gone on with my scene, the lighting of that, so I might just jump back into the engine real quick.
Are we accidentally still inside a planet, maybe?
I hope not. That would be kind of scary. I'm just going to have a little dig around here. I'm kind of tempted just to open this up in a new scene, because he's gone a bit balmy. Oh, yeah, definitely something weird going on with my levels, with my layers.
Some folks in the chat are asking, what's the virtue of using something like Substance Designer instead of Photoshop or something like that?
So I think that there's a few different kind of advantages of a workflow like Substance. Primarily, it's making sure that the work you are creating is reusable. I think that's really important, and it's also the fact that because of its procedural nature, you know, you do something once and then you have all that, and it's all still there, and it's all really
and the potential to randomize it as well. So Cory showed before there was the sort of like a random seed part of the node where you could click it and it would completely randomize it. If you were to make something in Photoshop, you're sort of committing to it sort of looking like that, and then if your lead was to say, you know, I like that, but I want to change a certain aspect of it, you know, could we randomize the colors? In Photoshop now it's a whole bunch of work, whereas in Designer it's as simple as playing with a little slider and then, you know, infinite variation.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. It's kind of, and also it's just, it can be a lot quicker, like to iterate the stuff. Like if you imagine painting that stuff by hand, it can take a lot of effort. Right, I'm just going to reopen the scene real quick. I do apologize, guys.
I imagine one of the other benefits of something like Substance Designer is through the flow graph, we're about to replace the original baseline image, and all the work that we've done so far doesn't get lost by replacing the original image.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened to my scene. I think it's importing that planet. I think it's imported a bunch of lights. So yeah, this was actually looking nice and dark and moody before. But he's gone a bit crazy, which I mean we can kind of work with, and that's the nice thing about this sort of artwork. You can kind of just play around with it. I'm still not happy with the kind of grunge we have going on here. I think I might just tweak that a little bit. Maybe we can change the modes. Yeah, that's looking cooler. Push it down a bit. We kind of want to preserve the details of the ship. The lighting is going to help so much though, once I get that in.
So I suppose when it comes to distributing your time, you're probably putting a lot of time into your graph because you know you can just go back and swap the screenshot out with whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of nice that way. It does make it a lot easier to iterate on this work. All right.
To answer Dr. Lirio's question, it's because neither Cory or John or myself work on those things that you're talking about, which is why we're doing a show about this.
What kind of?
Because this is what we work on.
Yeah, this is what we make. We have a lot of fun making it as well, which is
Yeah, we make pretty pictures.
I'm gonna throw that back in. Yeah, I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this weathering. I have actually made a kind of painting generator. We can try plugging that in, see how that works.
So just to explain that, once he's made this graph, he can sort of like compile all those nodes and sort of save it into a little template.
So when I crack this is my convert to oil painting. So we're basically taking a bunch of noises, pre-made noises that I've actually thrown together, and we're plugging a random input. I can input whatever I want into here, and it will run through all these different nodes and come out of this side. And I can just go into another graph. So say we go to painting 7, and I can drag in that node, and that has all the stuff I set up in there, ready to go. And then also the nice thing about that is we can make changes. So I've exposed the scale of the noise on this, so we can actually bump that up quite a lot. So you see, this is kind of giving us that patchy look I'm kind of after. It's still a little bit too crazy, but we can definitely work on that.
So if there was another instance in the game now that for whatever reason we felt like we needed to add some more oil paintings into the game, because you've done all this initial work, in theory it'd be quite easy to come back to it and just...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you can take these generators and really fix things. Okay, so...
Another point for substance design.
Yeah, there you go. Whereas with Photoshop, if you make something and you're not happy with it, it's so hard to change it, especially if you're not using all your layers. Let's just group all this stuff together. Group 01, that'll do. And I'm just going to nuke this layer here.
We're also missing the hangar door.
Yeah, I kind of squished it.
Oh, there it is. LED.
Yeah, let me just delete that layer. Okay, great. Yeah, so that comes. Sorry, that's just because the ship's work in progress. I've kind of had to. I kind of had to throw it together a bit, kind of custom style. Okay, so we're back to square one. Why don't we chuck in a nice background again? Let's get the Stanton background. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to use this guy. I'm actually going to go to the Stanton layer.
Move it over to the right.
Yeah, I'll just throw it over here. I'm just going to grab... I don't want you guys seeing all the secret layers we have. Let's just grab a background from one of you guys. Stanton. That's looking better, isn't it? Yeah, we got a sun now.
Yeah, a lot more dramatic.
Yeah, that's the contrast I was after. I'm not sure why the lighting was being so weird there. And I'm actually just going to turn off that pesky error there as well.
For those of you kids, it's not that there are secrets. We share quite a bit on ISCS stuff. It's that people tend to run away with things that aren't anything. So we try to avoid that by just not giving you guys bait.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't want to see what's on Cory's desktop either.
It's just a speculation, I suppose. Okay, this is looking a lot more promising, isn't it?
Yeah, we got dramatic FOV, dramatic lighting.
A little bit too much bloom. We can fix that just by bumping up the resolution. That's looking much more moody. This is kind of what I was after. I do feel like we need some fill lights because at the moment the only thing lighting the scene. I'm just going to bring I'm sorry, John. The only thing lighting the scene at the moment is the sun.
The fans want a smaller FOV as well.
The fans do want a smaller FOV, and they are right. It's definitely a lot more attractive. So I'm just going to throw those gas clouds back in. So I'm just going to bring in another gas cloud preset just here. And I'm just going to pop in the gas cloud I was using. In fact, I'll just drag this over here. I'll just grab that. And this is just kind of me. I've just been mooching around this stuff, and I found things that I thought were kind of cool. I figured we could just use those. So, that's a very tiny cloud. Why don't we embiggen that cloud?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, cloud. Just a little bit cloud. I love Bob Ross. I think I actually feel a little bit kind of peaceful when I do this kind of stuff. That's looking better, isn't it? Let's get that purple back as well. So I'm just going to squish this guy back here, and I'm just going to change the color of our little bitty cloud. That nice purple again. So this will demonstrate to you, and also let's get that composition back as well. I kind of like the way it was before. So I'm just going to grab our little ship group. That's the cloud. I'm just going to grab our little ship. And I'm just going to rotate him just so the lighting is a little bit better. So where's our star? I've lost the star. Yeah, definitely a star. So why don't we just orientate ourselves relative to the star? And this is the fun thing. We're actually kind of working in a live environment here. So I'm going to orientate us relative to the star. In fact, I'm just going to rotate this guy. We're just going to do a little 180 here. And we're just going to come back in. Yeah, that's looking more like what we had there. We can just give it that little dramatic flare out there.
Yeah, he's just doing a little turn as he flies through space.
Yeah, exactly. And we can just push these clouds back a little bit more, maybe. Yeah, that's looking cool. I don't know. Actually, I kind of like the lighting before. So why don't we just rotate him again? Yeah, there's a lot of noodling around with this stuff. You could spend like hours doing this. So we'll just try and move this along.
Want to do a correction to something Farseeker just said in chat. The 890 jump is coming in a 3.6x patch. It is not necessarily coming in a 3.6.1 patch. It is coming in a patch for the 3.6 branch, but it has not been determined which patch it'll come in yet. But it will come as part of the 3.6 branch. That is our current plan.
Nice. Okay. So, why don't I take a screenshot? Are you kind of happy with this? Let's compare that to what we had before, actually. I just want to make sure
I like it a lot, just coming out of the clouds like that.
Yeah, I think we're kind of...
I think this is better than what we had before.
Yeah, I mean, the lighting was broken, and I didn't really... I think it's because I imported that planet. That was a bad idea. I got carried away in the moment. I thought, I'll just bring a planet into the scene. Damn the consequences. We'll make it work. But
fortunately, we've done all that hard work initially with all the nodes and stuff, so it should be as simple as just swapping out these images.
I just want to fix that glass on the canopy real quick. That's better. Yeah, it was just drawing through the clouds. The glass sometimes can render a bit funny with clouds. So I'm just going to fix that up. There you go. That's looking a lot better, isn't it? So we'll do the same thing we did before. Aspect ratio 16:9, which is what it wants. This is the marketing toolbar. They use it a lot to set up marketing screenshots and stuff. It's very handy. So now if we go back to our shot, I hope that this looks a lot nicer for you guys. Yeah, we'll throw that in there. So new image. And the beautiful thing is once you bump up the res, all we need to do, bloop.
We're going to need our normal as well.
Yeah, and our normal. Yeah, the normal will be a bit squiffy. But if you check that out now, yeah, that's looking cool. It's just a little bit moodier, isn't it? So let's actually just drag the normals in as well, shall we? So I'm just going to flip the normal view on, take another screenshot, chuck it in. And it's this guy, isn't it? Yeah. There you go, link that. Throw that guy on. Make sure you fix the resolution. Cool. All right, yeah, we're kind of back to where we were. I feel like this is just looking a lot less, the lighting is just a lot less pants now.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good to show that the sort of work we do is a very iterative process. You know, if we just settled on the first version of everything we did, you know, the quality wouldn't be there. It's because Cory's very self-critical and looks at his work and says, I don't like this, it's not very good. And he goes back and he takes another screenshot. That's why these paintings came out so nice in the end.
Now, is the normal from the previous image still in there?
Yeah, it's still here. It's just floating around. Okay. We can delete that. Yeah, we're using our new one. You can see the mask is in line with our image. I'm just trying to get the kind of grungy noise we wanted. So I'm just going to grab this dude. Again, I'm just not kind of happy with that. I feel like we need what I might do is I might pinch some of the nodes I have in here, because I think that it's this guy here we need. So I'm just going to actually copy. This is one of those instances where I haven't set up all the values to be altered on the fly. So I'm actually just going to paste those in. So we have this huge tree here now, which we can play with. So this is where Substance Designer does get a little bit like spaghetti, because you have all these graphs. So what I might do is I might chuck in a little guy in there. So this will be taking the painting, and it will be applying all these noises to it. So if you check it out now, that's looking a little bit cooler if you ask me.
Yeah, it's cool already.
Yeah, I feel like we can nudge down some of those powers though. Yeah, nudge that down. Maybe turn this guy. Yeah, I think that's looking kind of cool, nice and painterly. We're going to delete the output, and we're actually just going to plug that directly in here. And that should blend together with the background.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, so now we've got a nice little background. I think we should play with the lighting a bit as well. Maybe get some cool lighting in there too. So I'm going to go back to the engine. And before I move, I'm actually just going to create a new camera, because if I move the camera, we're going to have to... Actually, it doesn't matter too much. Okay. I kind of want to lower the power of these clouds. At the moment, I feel like they're a little bit kind of overpowering. So what I might do is just bring down the intensity just a smidge. So we're going to go to the roll-up bar here. this guy. I know you don't like all the crazy stuff taking up the screen. I just want to show you guys what I'm doing. So I'm just going to lower the density of the clouds. Actually, it's this value here. Nope. So we're halving it. Maybe even 0.25. And I actually might swap that out for a different...
Different cloud?
Yeah, maybe we'll go back to the kind of directional looking one.
Yeah, I do want to say anything, but I was a much bigger fan of the directional one.
I'm just going to grab that guy real quick, if I can remember the name. Was it this guy? Yeah, that's the one we like. These are cool clouds. Yeah.
Feels a lot more dynamic.
Yeah, it kind of helps push it out a bit. That's cool. So why don't we try going back to our camera, and hopefully it behaves. There you go. We'll just bring that FOV in. I kind of feel like maybe pushing it out a tiny bit gives you the kind of clouds in the context. So why don't we just bring this dude? Let's set that to local. I just kind of want to bring this guy around a bit. Yeah, that's looking cool. Let's push it in. Let's push it back in a bit. See, I'm kind of torn up because I really like seeing the kind of background. So I think we might just play with that angle a little bit. Yeah. So why don't I just go back to the default?
You see, trying to pull the camera out a little bit, you reckon?
Yeah, I feel like you want to get the clouds in the background, you know. And you kind of want them to be rushing against the ship.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe if just moving them this way a bit will help. I think pulling them back, actually, yeah.
What's the feedback we're getting on this painting? Like, are people liking it?
Yeah, people digging it so far? No?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
We're good.
That's not what I want to hear, Jared.
No,
I don't want to hear it's fine. I want to hear it's good.
I'm letting you guys do your thing.
Okay, cool. As long as you're happy. So I've just brought in a little point light.
People who've watched this show long enough know that when we get into these art process streams, I like to just sit here and watch you guys do your thing. I tend to be a passenger on these ones.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it could be nice. I think it's quite relaxing to do and it's quite relaxing to watch, I think. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to change this light to a projector. So what, a planar light. So what that does is it creates, if it behaves, it's a little kind of projector light. And we can actually set the size of that. So I'm going to set that to like 100. So it's a really big swooping light.
And we're mimicking like a sun here or something.
A mini sun.
A mini sun.
I just want to light the bottom of this ship a bit. I feel like maybe if we give it like a purple light, like it's bouncing off that cloud, I think that would look pretty dope.
We're getting a lot more of the details in on the ship now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the focal point. Of
they were getting lost before, which is a shame because it's a really great looking ship.
I feel like maybe like that. Yeah, like a nice like kind of like it's bouncing off the clouds. Maybe just a smidgen like less intense though. So I would try maybe like 1. What do you reckon? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you want to do a before and after?
Yeah, I can take it back into Substance real quick.
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys have about 15 minutes left, by the way.
Oh wow, that's gone really quickly. I hope you guys are having a good time watching this. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I feel really bad because we tested it before and it was perfect.
They got to see the real process, Cory. They got to see what your workday is really like.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's pull this guy in real quick. All right. Apart from being a bit of a sandwich, I feel like that's looking a lot cooler, you know. If we look at the old one, yeah, we're definitely getting there. And that's the thing. This kind of stuff's really iterative.
Yeah, and see if you can get the first one as well, so you can show the 3 iterations.
Oh, I don't want to see the first one again.
We've really come a long way from the first iteration.
Yeah, you know when I was saying that not all art is good, and sometimes that's my fault as well. So I mean, we come a long way. I think that's looking. I mean, that just looks cartoon. That looks awful.
Yeah,
let's pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, that's looking a lot more dramatic. Please remember me for this. If you do remember me.
It's a process, remember. That's what you want to remember. It's a process.
I feel like I'm kind of happy with where the scene is. Why don't we just focus on getting it to feel like a nice, cool painting?
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of the fun comes in. So the background, I think, is kind of cool. We can work on that. But yeah, I definitely feel like what we have for the ship at the moment. I'm just going to pinch that normal real quick again. Yeah, let's grab that. So if I was doing this... more officially, I suppose, what I would probably be doing is saving over the same file so it updates automatically, which saves me dragging it in. But for now, because I'm using the screenshot tool in game, it creates a new file each time. So I just kind of want to, that'll do. Cool. So yeah, let's really push into why. I'm just going to delete this guy. Why we're not happy with this, and I think it's just because of the input we're using on the warp.
Yeah, we want the ship to look more like brush strokes.
Yeah, so I might just try and pilfer something from here, maybe. We need something softer, really. And the nice thing as well is once you have something, you can take stuff from elsewhere that you've built up. So I spent we spent a while building up this guy, building up these kind of noises. We can actually take those and then iterate on those as well. But I think maybe what we really need to do is just kind of blend in a bit more kind of variation, soften it up a bit. So I'm going to blend in just some regular clouds, or some black and white spots as they're called in here. Multiply that on. So we're just kind of squashing it down a bit. And I reckon maybe a non-uniform blur. So what this does is it blurs it, but it masks out where it's being blurred with another input. So I can put a map in and tell it not to blur. And if you throw in something fairly soft, again, I'm just using these presets because it saves a bit of time. But you'll see here how that's kind of softening out. That's a bit too powerful, but we can just kind of lower that a bit. Kind of bring it in. Again, I just feel like we're not kind of getting the brush strokes too much at the moment. We might just need to tweak these settings.
So there's a lot of sort of fine tuning that goes on at this stage.
Oh yeah. This is kind of where it slows down.
Yeah.
It's just trying to push that. I just really want to push the painted look. I think again maybe we just need a better thing to use. So I'm gonna try this guy. Yeah, there's a lot of experimentation. That's kind of looking a bit more to my fancy. And then again, we can always take this and we can process this further. So what we could do is we could nudge down our blur, we can nudge down our warp a bit, and then once that's blended in, we could take this guy and we could push that. Maybe with I'm going to use a vector morph. Oh, that's the grayscale vector morph. I'm going to grab a vector morph. So what this does is it allows us to input a 3-channel, kind of like a normal map or a vector map, and move things around using that. So why don't I just take some noise, and just like you saw me do with the viewport, we're kind of creating normals out of that. So I can really push this up, chug that in there, and what that's going to do is that's going to push stuff around based on the direction. And that just kind of, I find that just expands everything out, kind of gives it that sort of brushstroke look. We're trying to go for that. I mean, I think for me we've got a little bit of weirdness going on at the top.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to fix. We can go back to our original warp here.
And at this stage, you can start exporting these and actually previewing what it's going to look like in the scene.
Yeah, we should probably do that actually.
Yeah, obviously we have the 890 level. We can preview it on the wall amongst the other arts and just make sure it's sitting nicely with other things.
Yeah, why don't we plug that in? So I'm just going to export this out actually and pop it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we might find that like purple is maybe too strong of a color once it's sat against sort of everything else in the scene.
I think we've got another purple painting in there.
Yeah, we might get away with purple.
We may do. So actually, I'm just going to need to bring in a... Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jared, it keeps popping up on that window.
I just like to see the visuals. The only real reason I'm asking you to drag it off is so we can see the visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing pretty about folder structures.
No, definitely not. Okay, I'm just going to bring in the painting real quick. We're going to be really meta, and I'm just going to bring the painting into the scene.
Inception.
It's going to be a bit Inception, yeah. So, just going to grab the painting. Let's just grab a canvas, a 16 by 9 canvas, which is what we're using today. That's our medium, if you guys want to follow along at home. Throw that on there. So here's our canvas. You can see it's got, by default, that other painting on there, but we're just going to throw a new painting on there. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got our 890 right there.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a weird normal. I'm just going to fix that real quick. Yeah, so we've got a painting of the 890 next to the 890, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh, should we screenshot it again and put that in the painting? See how many times we can get away with it?
Yeah. So there's the painting in game. Again, I feel like if I had a bit more time, maybe we could push it a bit further. Nice. Unfortunately, it's just playing with the forms. I think there's a few things we can do.
I think you're being hard on yourself, Cory. I think it looks great, mate.
Yeah.
I think folks who have watched our game dev segments in the past know that most art isn't created in an hour.
I think you're kind of putting a harsh deadline on yourself by doing that, but it's fun. It's a challenge. It's kind of like have you ever watched game? I mean, I imagine the guys in the stream have watched game jams before, and they probably know how those go. You start out with something, and
they give themselves a week to make a game, which is unheard of anywhere else other than a game jam. But...
I mean, I've done a 48-hour game jam before, and it is oh boy, It's a challenge.
Yeah.
And you end up doing all-nighters. This is great fun. So I'm just going to take our little mask. I'm just going to throw in a version that has some motion blur on it. See if that kind of... Okay, maybe we're not going to use the mask. Maybe we're going to blur the mask. And then we're going to grab our blur. That's not our blur. Where's our blur? We're going to grab our blur and we're going to ramp that up a bit. Maybe a bit more. Well, dude, why not? Yeah.
So are you just trying to get it to sort of like, maybe look like it's moving a little bit?
Yeah, I'm just trying to I want to bring some of the form back in.
Yeah.
I'm not kind of happy with the way the brush strokes. I feel like maybe what we can do... Oh, this is a cool idea. We can take on normals and we could use that as a vector morph for some noise. That might be kind of cool. So if I grab some cells and if I grab a warp, a vector warp, what I think we might be able to do is take this guy and push those.
Now we're looking like abstract art.
Yeah, this is really abstract.
Yeah, we should just roll with this.
Yeah, this is pretty coul. Stealth mode. I think if we do this, blend it in by the same, maybe by the mask again. Yeah. Oh. There we go. And we're just going to throw that in on top. Ah, yes. We're actually going to need to change that into a color. And then throw that on there. Oh boy. I just want to kind of get a bit more variation in there. That's kind of gross. Let's munge that around a bit more.
Hopefully, if you're watching at home, you can see that at this point, these are sort of like tiny incremental changes that arguably no one but Cory appreciates. But
do you guys not appreciate them?
The end result will be better. We can do a little. We can go back and show some earlier stages at the end.
Yeah. We'll show you how far we've come.
Yeah, this is where it gets into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, I mean, I just want it to feel a little bit more cohesive. At the moment, it's kind of feels a bit like it's exploding. The borders, I kind of want to sharpen them up. I'm just trying to figure out a good way of sharpening them out. Actually, I think I might have an idea. What if we blend back to the original?
He's like a mad scientist with these nodes.
Yeah, well, if it feels a bit... You end up with like some crazy spaghetti going on. Yeah. It's really fun. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. But then if we reduce that a little bit... I was thinking... No. We flip these around. And that tightens up the background.
Yeah, that's a happy accident.
Yeah. Okay. But then the background's kind of smushed again. We need to... Tell you what. I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of fun here now.
I think he's having too much fun, actually. I think we need to tame him down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of looking better. It doesn't feel like a painting as much anymore. I reckon maybe we just need to work on pushing out some of these forms a bit. Let's just... Shall we? We'll see what we end up with. We might end up with something cool. What do you think, John?
Man, I'm so letting you take the reins on this one. You lost me after the first 5 nodes. At this point, I'm very much out of my depth.
I don't know how many nodes we're in. We're in a few nodes.
We're getting messy at this point.
Yeah, the problem with Substance is you end up in this kind of crazy...
You start forgetting what node does what and stuff.
Yeah, if you're not careful and you don't manage it properly, you end up with this kind of balmy...
Yeah, I'm going to be honest and say that my graphs are usually a quarter of the size of these graphs.
And there's an art to that as well. There's an art to being tidy and precise as well. I just want this kind of like general painted feel. I'm just trying to push that. Something like this, maybe. Yeah.
Is it fair to say you went through the same sort of iterative process with the other paintings?
Oh yeah, big time. It kind of, you're just kind of tinkering until you kind of you get something you like. Oh, that's really weird. Let's not do that. That's kind of cool. We'll lower that.
One of the hardest things to predict, not just for props, but for anything, is how long art is going to take.
Oh yeah.
How long does it take to any creative endeavor? Like sometimes you're awarded with inspiration and everything fires the way that you want it to, and you arrive exactly where you're trying to get to in an hour and 2 hours and 5 hours and 5 days, whatever. And other times you struggle to find the thing that you want.
They're not all winners.
You can spend days, weeks, sometimes if it's something the scale of a ship, months, trying to find the look and feel that you're looking for. So it's
Yeah.
it's hard. One of the things that gets asked quite often is how long does it take to concept a ship? And it's like it depends. It depends on not only the size and scale of the ship, but it's the way it works within that artist's mind and how long it takes that particular artist to strike upon a consensus of what they like and what Chris likes and stuff like that. So,
especially if you want it to be good as well. I mean, you can make bad art quite quickly, but when you're trying to make good art, it takes constant iteration.
Well, good and bad is subjective, of course.
Yeah. Although I feel like we can all agree the first screenshot we took into Substance Designer today.
It's shameful.
Yeah, we can all agree that was. I like to think we could all agree that was bad art.
That was, oh god. Yeah. Oh jeez.
Don't worry, it's not like there's video evidence of that.
Oh
now,
no, I'm gonna never look that.
No,
I'm just gonna
keep that and put the 890 jump in front of that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Yeah, I was just trying to pilfer something.
We got 4 minutes at this point.
Oh boy. Oh, where's the warp? I forgot to bring the warp
speed
in.
painting now.
Oh jeez, here we go. Okay, another multi-directional warp. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh, that's the wrong one. Multi-directional warp, baby. I feel like. Oh, jeez, here we go. Is there a time limit on this?
No. Other than it's Friday night
5 minutes
and the end of your week. And
that's fine. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we have no plans. This is
This is our life. I'll tell you what.
The stream ends, but we'll still be here working on this painting.
I needed all this stuff. Oh, this is the problem with spaghetti graphs. Spaghetti graphs everywhere, man. Okay, let's try this one more time. I believe. All right, I'm chucking it in. There's nothing you can do to stop me. Come on, baby. Give me something good. Oh, no, that's just awful, isn't it?
now it looks like one of those magic eye paintings from the 90s.
Yeah, that'll do.
It's a schooner.
What have I done? Okay, let's try this again.
He's pushed it too far.
I pushed it too far, guys. I think we've done goofed on this one. Oh, that's the wrong way around. Okay, let's do this.
Do you want to take the blur off the mask, maybe?
Yeah, that's probably wise. Oh man, I just want to like.
I like that just a little bit.
Just a smidgen.
Yeah.
It needs work. It needs more color variation. I feel like as well, maybe.
You're your own harshest critic, Cory.
I know, right? Oh, real quick, we've got 2 minutes. What if we change the color of the light to like a different color?
Well, as we've demonstrated, it's non-destructive, so in theory, it should be quite easy to kick out a new screenshot and
Jeez, I don't know. Maybe a brown.
Put it through the graph.
Let's try it.
We are effectively demonstrating process. We are demonstrating the process of going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I lost you there. Oh, the angle's changed as well.
Fortunately for Cory, he doesn't usually have me sat over his shoulder like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
No, when you're sitting alone at your desk and you don't have a co-pilot and you don't have 1,000 people watching live, the workflow is a bit different. It's one of those things. It's observation changes the experiment.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have got that 20 degrees FOV suggestion. So
yeah, you're right. That's 20 degrees.
Yeah, really, Luan's the only one who's been excelling today.
Yeah.
Luan, you've done us all proud. I'm sorry we failed you. You're the real MVP today.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we try this? I don't think that's really going to make a difference in the short time we have, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do it.
There's going to be that last stroke of the paintbrush that makes the paint.
It's really not. I literally just changed the color of the light. And it's not even that. Okay, here we go. Still too grungy.
Yeah, we're getting fiddly at this point.
Yeah, we're getting really noodly. Too much noodling. It's this guy here that's the problem. Yeah, let's bring that down. We've kind of eaten the front of the ship as well.
Yeah, that's cool though. Context. He's been in a space battle.
Yeah, you're right. That's okay, buddy. I really appreciate that. I needed it. Okay. Well, that's where we are. What do you guys reckon? Let's get this in game. I promise I'll do a better job. Here we go.
Ignore the errors.
Ignore the errors.
This is art.
Yeah, we're not here for errors. All right, here we go. What have we got? He's not too bad.
Yeah. I'd put it on my wall.
I don't think I would. There you go. He's not too bad.
I don't think I would.
No. Okay, the other one was better, in fact. We've gone backwards, guys.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, we have.
It's just another iteration, Cory.
You're right. I'm gonna very quickly just throw like some painting-y effect on it, and just hope that makes it slightly better. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is like the Walking Dead version of the 890 jump.
Oh geez,
It's got like
it
a
feels a
zombie
bit,
fun. It's got like a zombie decay.
and it's
fun.
overexposed because of the lighting. Okay.
Should we go in look depth mode maybe?
Yeah, we could go and look different.
There you go.
Yeah, throw it in there. How about this?
Yeah, there
I mean,
we
I
go.
just stole the brushstrokes from the other painting, but it needs work. The ship itself is beautiful.
Yeah, honestly, that's
Yeah,
not,
we-
that's not so bad.
We can't fault the ship.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all Cory.
It's all my fault. I'm sorry, guys. I've let you down.
Actually, no, I think you pulled it out at the end there once you added the texture.
Oh yeah, I mean after that horrible beginning. That's not so bad. It needs work. I'll give it more love. I'm gonna spend the next 2 hours working on it. So, yeah.
He's going to be
gonna
beating
like,
himself up, I can
yeah,
tell.
yeah, you're supposed to be home for dinner. I had to fix it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cory, John, for taking
Okay.
your time here at the end of another busy week to take us through your process creating the artwork for the 890 jump. As was stated before, the 890 jump is scheduled to come out in a 3.6x patch. Whether that's 3.6.1, 3.6.2, whatnot, it hasn't been decided yet. So keep an eye out for official communications on when that, but 890 Jump is making its way towards release as we speak. Cory, John, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right,
It's been
we'll
a
see everybody
pleasure.
next week. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertsspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.